There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. Tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. And how about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring it master teacher. Bring it freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring it master teacher. Bring it freedom for the master, master teacher. 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 Freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down, make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master. master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, 'cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we maybe, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring a master teacher, bring a freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring a master teacher, bring a freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom for the master, master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true for a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. And how about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master, master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to rob brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do everything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true for a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. the master. Freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Bring it, master teacher. Bring it, freedom for the master. Master teacher. Freedom for the master. Bring it, master teacher. Bring it, freedom for the master. Master teacher. 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 Freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on.
Freedom.
They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished.
Freedom.
They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to rob brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Bring home now. Bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher. Freedom, master teacher. Bring home now. Bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher. Freedom, master teacher.
There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our
He's
opposition?
been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Master teacher. Freedom for the master. Master teacher. Freedom for the master. Master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of
Tonight will resonate with you, and that greetings and Malta, Robert, and that we can learn together, exchange information together. Like the master teacher says, each one teach one. And if we can do it just to one, that will have a ripple effect, and we will gain momentum through that. As I've just informally mentioned, I was having a conversation with my Zamal here. He was asking about the significance of the 9 ether within the context of the 24,000-year cycles, which includes the 6,000-year sun cycle, the 6,000-year moon cycle, and how that relates, how that correlates. And just something that came to me now, Zamal, is that as 9 ether beings, we come into our own during the time of the sun, because our sun feeds us, it communicates with us, it bestows information, downloads on us. And that is why we thrive during those times. The interesting thing now is that we need to take up our positions and take responsibility for who we are, knowing what and who we are, and in that sense, go forward and embracing what the sun cycle has to offer for us. So I hope, does that help? Does it shed some more light into
Yes,
that.
that's good for now. Yeah.
Good.
I only need it in little bits.
Good for now. Fantastic. Right. Let's. There we go. Robert and Graham. Robert. Violet Shabeba. Robert Coco Brown. Tahuti Aken Reye. Robert. Greetings. Welcome. Right. Right, we'll give it another minute, and then we'll start it formally. And then we'll take it from there. As per my brother's earlier questions, if you've got any questions at this point, put them on the chat. If you want to say where you come from, how far our reach is this evening, that would be wonderful. In our studio here, we have brethren from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Brazil, yeah. So, and there's a Maltat. Where are we from tonight? And UK, born and bred. So we've got an array of. Yeah. So this is fantastic. We're excited to be here. We honored Mozambique. Thank you, Jose. Otep, Matabel. Or Jose, because that's Portuguese. Jose is Spanish. Yeah. Yeah. Robert, greetings. Brazil, yes, Ricardo Hernandez.
You from Brazil?
I'm from South Africa.
Yeah, you're from. No, you said somebody was.
Yeah, Ricardo Hernandez.
Yeah, that's kind of the Spanish or Portuguese. Yeah.
Yes, but I think both the Spanish and Portuguese. I mean, Brazil is not meant to be. It's normally Portuguese, but yeah,
colonial period.
Yeah, suppose you had different colonizers at the time.
Yeah.
Robert, greetings. Brown Sugar 72, USA in the house. That's excellent. Tahuti Aken Reye, Robert, to you. Thank you, Ricardo. Ricardo's living in Australia. How's it going down under, mate?
Tell them to be careful of Bondi Beach.
I'm relaying a message from the studio. Please be careful down at Bondi Beach.
We're shooting there recently.
Right, I wasn't aware, so there you have it, Ricardo. And how are we doing for time? 1 more minute.
You know, when we're talking to people on the street, how do we know what level they're at? Are they 3 or 6 or 9 level spiritually in their development?
Right. Two things before I answer. Allow us to start the formalities formally or properly. And then also the second thing is I'm going to ask that you ask the same question again, but using the mic. That allows everybody to hear the question. And then we can all learn through that. Right, Ricardo, pretty good, Zamal. Very happy with the students. Great. Thank you. I'll shoot to you too.
The greeting is Ra-U-Ubat.
Raubat, correct. Raubat.
R-A-U
H.
R-A.
Excuse me, sorry.
Ubat.
Yeah, if you can just help the brother spell. Thank you. Can I just check? Is my screen still sharing? Can somebody just confirm, please? Yes, no?
Yes, it's sharing.
Thank you. Okay. That. Right. In that event, it's now 6 minutes past. Okay. Okay. 6 minutes past. Let's officially start. Let's get our session underway. No, I'm about to start, and no, we're just waiting for people to join us on. And we'll be joined tonight by our Zamal, Siken, Sabram, Ray, and we shall officially start now by affirmation. The Takut. نعوذ مقدار بدهد بتا نعوذ مخلص بدهد جان أنوكي جاوفتا نشوك إمبا نعوذ وكالا نشوك كون جاوف نيا أنوكي كتامون إمبا نعوذ وكا نعوذ كون كتامون إم نيا أنوكي واو وانيخ نعوذ Upa Raut Kaun Rahu Ame Naya Naku Kadur Naju Ame Asampun Empa Raut Wu Habu Ame Mushashun Naku Kadur Kawan Pafer Naku Arab Jawer Pa Raut Ame Wase Ame Arabni Kaun Ne Pakui Jawer Pa Raut Anuki Ragat Bia Nafati Pa Gaud Kawun Anuki Pa Gaud Kadu Naku Kadu Pa Gaud Kamud Naku Kamud. Right. Great. Thank you. And as you know by now, we do that so that we ask our ancestors to guide us, help us during this lecture, and that allows everyone to get the best out of the evening. Right, so tonight I would like to, I suppose, not give reverence, but to a degree give reverence to and remind ourselves of the role of the sacred feminine. Tonight I want to explore in this new paradigm, how does the sacred feminine reclaim a rightful place? We are now, as we mentioned informally earlier, we're back in the sun cycle, and this is the time when us as Nagaru, we come back into our own. We remember who we are, and we fulfill our role in line with natural nature. So I want to explore that tonight, and I'll be reading from the Pad Taruk, the sacred feminine, and then we'll go from there. So periodically, I want to ask ourselves the question, how do we, as brothers and sisters, as Zamal and Zamal Tats, facilitate our sacred feminine to take a rightful place? Right. Actually, if I pause for a second, my brother, I had a question earlier, and I'd like to explore that first, because it wasn't fully on topic. So if we do that briefly now, explore that, and then we'll carry on. Zamal, please.
How do we know to approach somebody who is ready? How do we know a person is ready to understand this teaching, whether he's a 3 or a 6 or a 9 level being?
Right. Right. Okay. So if I understand correctly, you want to know when engaging with a person, whether it's a 3, 6, or 9 ether being, how will you know when they're ready? But the question is, ready for what?
Ready to listen to the teaching, ready to be able to receive the teaching.
Right. Okay. In that context, firstly, we need to understand it's not for us to make a judgment. It's not us to make to take a position. You are ready, you are not. It's not our words, for that matter. We are encouraged to relay it back to the teachings of the master teacher. He's been writing thousands of books about every aspect of our life. And at that very point in time, you may not know what is appropriate for this person. So as such, like with anything, like our brothers propagated today, and they meet strangers really. And it's about starting that conversation, because in that conversation, the truth will be revealed. You will, as far as you can, quote what the master teacher has written, and the master teacher's words will resonate or not with that person, to the point you'll have an understanding, and then take it to the next level. And then based on that, you can obviously go to a particular level or not. Would brothers again like to add to that?
No, it's fine. Yeah, you just share the information and direct them to the books, and then they will make their decision for themselves.
Does that help, brother?
It helps because, well, I mean, the reason why I came here is because I saw your something like it was like an ankh
It's
on
tweet.
the person's hat. On the other brother was here.
Yeah.
I saw this. I said, okay, I need to find out about this, because if you got an ankh, it must be
Right. Sure. Sure.
Right. And you go there.
No, that's fantastic. So again, it wasn't something that the person said verbally. It was a symbol, and to the point now that you wear it, you identify the next person.
I've worn it for years.
Right. And that's exactly that communication, because in the normal world, we know communication is 70% non-verbal, 30% verbal. So, you know, that exchange was made, giving you the opportunity to explore.
If I may just say one quick thing. So you also hear the phrase that a picture tells 1,000 words. So when people see the ankh, they know that this is not the same ankh like most people are familiar with. So this is actually called a ankh tui, which is two ankhs in one, or the anak tui, which we say, people can say it's a double ankh. But the point is that the master teacher is always given us symbols that in our culture, when people see them, they will gravitate to it, and then you can start a conversation that way. This is why it's very important for us to wear our symbols and our cultural attire, because then people will be like, oh, I've never seen that before, what's that? And then you strike a conversation, and then that can lead to them coming to class, etc., or reading a scroll. Go ahead.
Thank you, Zamal. Right. So tonight we're going to read from the Patriarch, the Sacred Feminine. Likum. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapian male for his female. Verse 2. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapu Sayo, Nuwapian man, for his Sayatat, woman. 3. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapian Amat, husband, for his Hamatat, wife. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapian Sawa, son, for his Moldatat, mother. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapian Sekak, brother, for his Sekak Tat, sister. Verse 6. Oh, blessed is the... No. Oh, do I want to? Oh, I want...
Yes.
Right. I'm just going to share my screen so that we can both hear and follow visually what I'm reading.
There you go.
Yeah. Don't touch them all.
And tack up there after.
Right. Verse 6. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapian Muldat, for his Muldat Tat, mother. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapian Naisut, for his Naisut Tat. Verse 8. Oh, blessed is the true Nuwapian masculine, for his true Nuwapian feminine. Verse 9. The sacred feminine holds us for all, the sacred feminine holds us all for 9 cycles of 3 cycles in a holy temple, Raham, womb, the sacred garden of triple darkness. Verse 10, she has blessed you with all with birth, breath, and life. Verse 11, she is mother of all living and all that lived. Verse 12, she was the first and she will be the last. Verse 13, she is the Khatat, body, in which houses the Ka, spirit, into whom descended your masculine soul. Verse 14, the link to Oversoul, who is a true sacred feminine, and what does it mean? 15, out of he comes he, out of who man comes man, out of male comes male, and out of lady comes lad, comes lady, comes lad, but not girl and boy, and not masculine and feminine. For feminine is the secret of the number 9. For she is mathematics, the science of space and time in figures called numbers. Verse 17, to be born in 9 months, it is to be mathematically born, making you a mathematician, supreme mathematics, mother, matter. Number 18, the true matriarch, the sacred feminine, matriarchy, from whom the mitochondrial DNA is only found. So I'm going to pause here for a sec and just wanting us to remember that everything that is living and that has lived comes from the sacred feminine. And the beauty of this Patriarch, what stood out to me, is how it gives honor into the beingness that the feminine brings forth. So in that context, I want to explore some other Patriarchs or other scrolls that also dives a bit deeper into this aspect, and in particular, the mathematics of it. So in this regard, I'm going to read from the Master Secrets, the Designer Genes, scroll number 22, and I'll be reading from verse 1 to 9. Para Sam Yachas Kawun Dof 1220, the Designer Gene is Daf 1220. Verse 2, Daf 1220 is the mystery of primate brain expansion. Verse 3, the Muzayat, Muthatal'u, extraterrestrials, use it to make a kind of man in their own Sabach image and like them, yet who would never mentally grow older than Pa'akal, the mind of a 13-year-old. Verse 4, the smartest of the Kuradu simians only have Pa'akal, the mind of a 3 to 6-year-old. Verse 5, the seminal monkeys have 48 chromosomes. That 48 chromosomes is equal to the planet, project sector 24, or 24 plus 24, which equals 48. So 24 plus 24 equals 48 chromosomes of the simians grown on this macabre planet who become the ape man, chimpanzee, and others. Verse 7, it was to control Padamach, the brain, to make this new kind of Zazas man, a primitive worker as chimpanzee can and do use tools. Verse 8, once the Muthatal'u extraterrestrials mix their own 47 chromosomes to match the new axis of Mekab, the planet, 23 degrees, you had 23 plus 23 equal 46. Excuse me. What this is talking about is just the clarity of what the the extraterrestrials, the overseers had, using those chromosomes, those living beings on Earth at that time, and making that, what do you call it, creating the species. The difference is that there was clarity in when it came to the chimpanzees and the monkeys using the 48, and that was aligned with Mother Nature and planet Earth. We then looked further and then saw that other extraterrestrials were also then doing the same, but because of the difference in the number of chromosomes, resulted in different being. And in that sense, I want to highlight that when we consider where we are, the brother asked earlier about the 9 ether, 6 ether, 3 ether beings. It highlights that the difference of where we are. In my very first lectures, I think it was Dimension Links, it gave a more clearer picture of who we are and what we're capable of. And I've taken that text out again just to highlight the beauty and the accuracy in terms of the supreme mathematics that the overseas applied. Do we have any questions on that section at this point? Zamal, please take the mic and
Jamal, is that fair to me?
Brother,
Yes, yeah.
Okay, brother, he will go. That's a very simple question. Who made the overseers and the somebody who you refer to as ET?
The extraterrestrials?
Is that like the movie ET?
Yeah, I think the movie was just a depiction of what we now know as extraterrestrials, and my suspicion is the movie aimed to highlight that they do exist. I think today there are plenty of video online where we can see people have had experiences with these extraterrestrials, and then also craft that have fallen and broke down, those craft being reverse engineered for technology being used today. So that, I think that is what the movie was trying to highlight.
Yeah.
In terms of your question, can you remind me again, please?
Who made, or how were they made, the overseers and those entities which you call ET? So who made them or who created them? And if that's a wrong word to use.
Well, I suppose created, because the word create pertains to the context of, I'll use this context. When you bake a cake, you use different ingredients to make the cake, right? So if we also remember that the context of, I think it's the second law of thermodynamics, highlighting that nothing can be created nor destroyed. So something needs to exist in order for something else to be made. And in that regard, I'm going to ask my brothers again just to support and highlight or maybe expand upon
I think when we look at the word extraterrestrial, we have to break it down that we're talking about something that is extra on the terrain or this terrestrial plane, as opposed to something from outside of the planet called celestial. All right. So when we're saying, oh, the overseers, these are just intelligent beings that evolved from outside our solar system, as there are many other extraterrestrial. The thing is that we only focus on the life forms on this planet, but those extraterrestrials that we call the overseers, they seeded this planet with their DNA, and that's how we evolved from them. But it was put into a capsule and put into a dolphin and then brought into the waters of this planet. And then that capsule then melted and germinated the water. And then we as humanoid evolved from that as the original race, right? Coming out of the waters, became known as the Pataites. And in ancient Egypt, because when you start to try and find out who's first on the planet, you have to go backwards to who was here first. And often people will end up in ancient Sumer or ancient Egypt as being the oldest. So when you go to ancient Egypt, these beings were referred to as frogs and snakes. that came out of the waters and became known as the Ogdoads, and then the 9 Enneads that came from them. You see, so when you're saying where did we evolve from, there were beings in the waters that weren't our life form, as in the humanoid. Yeah. So, but the original people that then in Egypt everybody talks about, the Egyptians have a creation story which predates everybody else's creation story. So when you're saying Adam, this is relating scientifically to atom, because the atom would be first, and Adam would be first in the religious books because they took that story from Atum, which is one of our ancestors. You see, so many extraterrestrials' beginnings start off in their star systems. It's not necessarily that everything is just earth-based. So when the master teacher starts to give us the stories of what we call creation, because as my brother said, you have existence. In fact, you have pre-existence, then you have existence, and then things are created out of existence because existence already exists. So when the religious world pick it up to start off the creation stories, they always say God created or Allah created. There's always going to be someone there existing before creation comes about. But then they give you the fictitious story of him. The fact that it's a him is a problem because the woman, as we're reading, sacred feminine, comes first. So they start off wrong because they don't know what happened prior to that. So religious people only go back 6,000 years, but we don't even have a birthday. We go back millions and millions and millions of years. Yeah, so just tying in like the different extraterrestrials and their time zones. Some people don't go outside of our planet, let alone our solar system, let alone the galaxy or our universe and other universes to the multiverses and omniverse. So yeah, depending on which beings you're talking about, their beginning is going to be different. So the master teachers put out a scroll called The Beginning. And when you read that, it gives you the different accounts from different cultures of what they call the beginning, but none of them predate our beginning story. So we have to give you that. And then we tie it back to the Natharu, who built the pyramids and aligned the 3 pyramids of Giza to the belt of Orion and the Sirius Star constellation, because that's where they come from or they originated from. So it takes us into their time zones. And now we're learning about, how we relate to them as their offspring. And then on the planet, people that study these things, like anthropologists, they now go back and say the first people were the Homo naledi, the Homo habilis. Then all the Asian stock who came out of that, which people refer to as the Dravidians, the Koreans, the Chinese, they're referred to as the Denisovan or the Homo floresiensis. And then from them, you get the Caucasian, who they refer to as the Neanderthal and also the Cro-Magnon. But there was also the Basque, who were used to wipe out the Cro-Magnon because what happened to them. So yeah, depending on where you want to start as the beginning and which culture you're coming from, you're going to have, different stories.
Am I correct in understanding that then Natharu built pyramids? Does Natharu refer to the Africans?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. So the word Natharu is being not being mistranslated, but those who were trying to pronounce it from the hieroglyphics termed it Natiru, which then became nature.
Netaru, yes.
Yeah, so it's nature, Natiru, but it's really Natharu, referring to our overseers.
Rahubat Zamal, Drew has his hand up.
All right, thank you, Drew. After Drew, we'll take a question from the Zamal in the studio. Drew, unmute and ask a question, please.
Oh, thank you, everyone, and thank you for the hosts. My name is Drew. I'm zooming in from Nairobi, Kenya, and my question is on technology. We know the black man built the pyramids, and even has done intergalactic travel. But what I'm wondering, the white man has a lot of technology in terms of, I even heard in Venezuela, they were using supersonic weapons when they kidnapped the president. And even with the internet and the mobile phones and everything, they have a lot of technology and weapons. So I was wondering, did, did, did the black man have as much technology then? And what happened? Where did we lose our technology? And with the end of the reign of the white man, will we be the heads in terms of technology again? So I just want your views on technology. Thank you.
Okay, good question, Zamal. I think where we currently stand, or in the last, let's call it 1,000 years of the last previous 6,000 years, there are reported incidents where craft from outer space crash landed on this planet, and there are reports that they have been reverse engineered. And what we have today, the supersonic, the night vision, the anti-gravity, etc., has been taken from those craft, reverse engineered, and obviously applied in whatever specific manner. I think what's interesting is you also highlighted how the Caucasoid Adamites obviously got rid of a lot of people. And in that context, one has to remember that the nature of the different species comes into play in that context. Because as much as we are the superior race in terms of the number of, is it chromosomes, the 90? The number of chromosomes, the more depicts the more intelligent the species is. But our nature is different. From the stories, the first man roaming Africa, they were in tune with nature, and people would come to them in a peaceful manner, and those Caucasoids would then exploit that. With regards to your question of what may happen in the future, I think we're starting to remember, and through these channels, we're exchanging information. We've seen time and time again how, our Negroid family create these amazing things. I mean, you mentioned cell phones. That was a black lady that created that technology. So I think we have, and my brother Zaken can support me with more direct quotes to which scrolls where you can find information. But we are taking back our original place. And with that comes the aspect of what the topic tonight is, the sacred feminine. Because when we have those things in place, like, and I'll compare it to a beehive, you've got the queen bee, you've got the workers, but everybody working together, everybody coming together as one makes that difference, makes the environment, nature work, because it's through the cross-pollination and all of those aspects that work together, and therefore you have success in nature. And as Panu Bianun has also asked us and implored upon us to come together in love and unity, in ashuk, as we call it in our language. And that's going to make the difference. That will take us to that next level, which you're referring to. So, yeah, I think that's what I've got at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, build on what my brother said, you kind of have it back to front, because the technologies that were used to build the pyramids that people are still trying to decipher today is our ancestors' technology. When you look at DNA and look at, the technologies that we have, they're far superior. And even when you look in the West, most of the technologies, they need the resources from Africa, like the cobalt for the mobile phones, etc. And even in the companies, and a lot of the inventions are by Nagarus. They just don't put them on the forefront. But when you start to look at the patents of these technologies and who's behind them, you will find that it is a lot of Nagarus behind it. And all it is that we, as their children, we have to be elevated to a point where we can be trusted, meaning that you wouldn't take like a gun and give it to a baby. So the technologies that we are meant to inherit or get, we can only get those because they're very powerful. Our technologies deal with things like the mind, like because the mind and natural nature is more powerful than any weapon that the Adamites have ever come up with. This is why when you see like nature at work, like the tsunamis and the earthquakes and the tornadoes, even the crafts that they try to re-engineer, a lot of those crafts don't work because they are fused with the beings that drive them. So your DNA and everything has to fuse with the actual craft before you can start it. So they were able to do some bits and pieces. You know, you had Bob Lazar, who was working in Area 51, and a lot of the technologies now they're realizing melanin is the most superior, and they're now using melanin on the fastest quantum computer chips. So if you watch the Panther movie, this is what they were really trying to explain, that you have this group of people that have got resources. They called it vibranium, but it's really dealing with the vibration and what we have as Nagarus, where once we come together, our collective energy, the synergy with that, will mean that we're now able to receive our barothry gland back, which means that we are then activated as supreme beings again. But in order for you to be worthy, Partner Babyanun is here to teach us and give us the very basic lessons like love and unity, come together. And then when you start to clean yourself inside out, work on yourself, your chakras, like every other race only has up to 7. We have up to 9. Again, this is our number, 9 ether. So it's really down to us, and we're the ones holding ourselves back. So when extraterrestrials come to the planet, they want to go to people that are in power. So they will go to the presidents. You know, they've visited Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower. These are even down to President Carter, and they go to them because they are in control. Our problem is that we're not uniting, and so we're not looking like an organized being that is of high intelligence. Because when you look at what's going on in the world, we are very distracted by 6 ether forces. So when you see people working on technologies and building things, what they portray of us is people twerking and doing all the nonsense. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the music and all that stuff is what they highlight about us. But when you start going into Africa now, they're coming up with technologies, and it's now becoming so like they're coming out with electric cars that are far superior than the ones in the West and what the Chinese have. They're coming out with technologies where they're using natural nature as fuel, you know. So yeah, don't believe the hype. We do have technology. Our problem is to be organized so that we don't have to always go and sell it or take it to them, and then they basically exploit it, hide your name, and don't really give you the props for your invention. But that is starting to change now. So yeah, Partner Babyanun is an extraterrestrial, and the technologies that they have on risk and so forth, he's yet to start teaching us these things like teleportation, levitation, and all the things that, you know, we utilize like gold for, because part of our makeup is the gold, which is referred to as the mafkozet, or monatomic gold, or the elixir of life. These are the technologies. They want to know how to live forever. But we have that naturally, but we have to get it activated when we are behaving and acting like, you know, the supreme beings we're supposed to be. And that's what all this knowledge and the books are for, to get us to become supreme beings.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So,
Rahul.
So just going back to what you were reading, when it comes to the simians, were they on this planet before Nagaru? And what predates them? Like, what's their existence? Who created them? If there's any information.
Right.
No, the answer is no, they weren't. But when you're saying Nagaru, we have to be specific because we are Natharu supreme beings. Yeah. We were first because we come by way of the DNA and the genetics of the Natharu. Yeah. So we were first. Even wherever you want to look at it, whether it's in space, on another planet, on Earth, our DNA is first. So everyone and everything else comes from us. Yeah. But when you're talking about extraterrestrial coming here and making man or creating man, they're taking the DNA of the original beings, which will be us as the Pataites, and then they're mixing it with, like you say, with the simians and with the baboon and all of that to create what the Anunnaki were doing. See, this is what a lot of Negroid, they think they're Anunnaki. Some may be, but that gravitation would be a Negroid, but it's taking the DNA of the Pataites and adding their DNA to create what they call a Lulu or Milu, which is a primitive worker. But because it's being done through genetics, they have to make sure that that being that they're creating is going to be able to do what they want it to do. So can they hold tools to mine and do the work? So then they will mix, like we said, the baboon and all of that to try and produce a being that is able to do the work. And they had many iterations until they get the right one. And then you have other beings that will come in here also and having fun, because different extraterrestrials came here for different reasons. Some came just to hunt. Some came here for recreation. Some came to sleep with the females. It tells you that in Genesis 6:4, right? So what ended up happening is the extraterrestrials started to have competitions of who can create the the best being. So they were doing this, and some were coming out with 6 hands, different legs, and all kind of deformities. And a lot of the Hindu beings that you see with, like, they show them with 6 hands and all of that. That's because of these deformities that came by these extraterrestrials creating hybrids and coming up with, and they would actually have a show where everybody presented their creation and to see like which one was the best. Obviously, this is where, there's so many different beings on the planet, but the simians did not come before us. Yeah. Tua. Beautiful.
Right. Is there anybody? Yeah.
Throwback, Samar. There's some questions in the chat.
Your topic is going. Go on.
No, it's part of it.
Okay.
Because we're just obviously delving in a bit deeper. Coco Fax is asking, I would like to know, when you have 2 people you love, which you consider polygamy, does that interfere with one of your lovers? Right. So my understanding is you've got a polygamous relationship and you're just checking if the one person is negatively affected. I understand that correctly?
He actually says interfere with you having a spiritual unity with one of your lovers.
Right. Okay, so this is a male speaking, right? We just need to be clear. So it's a male with 2 female mates or wives. Is that correct?
It doesn't state.
Right, because the dynamics will change if we're talking about. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think logically makes sense. But yes, it does. This is why it's not. We'll have to know the details of your situation, because is this according to Wu-Sabat, or is this just something that people out there just decided to do? Because the way it's done in Wu-Sabat is the first wife would have to play a major part in choosing the second mate, so that this is where those conflicts, like she will know the nature of that female, whether or not they're going to bond and become one, or it's going to be a thing where their energies and spirits are different and they're clashing, and then it causes problems when people try to have a a polygamy relationship. People say polygamy, but it's the other way around. So there are strict rules if it's under Wu-Sabat. So you would really not be choosing someone that's going to come and disrupt the unit. So it's a very, very serious thing. So we don't really know the details of that personal situation, and we can't really comment unless we know. Like, obviously, in Wu-Sabat, we have the Lotus of Life, or the Sacred Feminine Scroll. I think you're referring to it, and we have like the sexual violations of Wu-Sabat. We have the commandments. We have many things that, if it's done in that way, then the likelihood is that you won't get a situation where you've got people that are incompatible or that are having conflicts, or they're going to disrupt you developing spiritually. That's why it's such an important thing if you're going to go down that road.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Coco or Choco, sorry. I hope that answers your question. Moving on to the next question, Anassa Washington. Anassa from Somalia. How can we erase the old Christianity mentality from the minds of our generations to come? I want to teach them about spirituality. Anassa, the best way is when you consider how you learn things. When you were born, you started naturally. You started crawling first. You fell over. You tried walking, and the rest. And what I'm saying with that is that it's just through the action, the activities, and the mindset that you have. If there are people in your circle, surroundings, the best way to teach them is just by living by way of the culture of Wu-Sabat. And that includes eating properly, exercising, reading the scrolls, and using natural nature as your guide if you're uncertain, interacting with your ancestors for guidance, and that would start you off in the right way. The other aspect that you can also consider is, if they're open to it, then invite them to a session like tonight. You in Somalia, so you can have your laptop open, your friend could come, and you can watch us together. I've experienced that one of a useful way is to ask them to ask us a quick question that will actually trick us, and in that way they get their question answered. And if we are tricked, then hurrah, it's a win for them. But the master teacher has written about every aspect under the sun, and it's highly unlikely that we'll be caught out. But there's nothing to be caught out, because we operate by way of natural nature. Yeah, I don't know if I want to add.
Just a little quick point, that it's important that we are not judgmental, in the sense that we walked from being ourselves in Christianity in different religions. So we can't then now look at people that are at that stage and not have the same shook and patience and care, and we do that by way of our example of being in Wu-Sabat, because most of the time people don't really listen to what you say, they watch what you do and your actions. So if you are somebody that is resonating and exuding Wu-Sabat, they're going to be more likely to gravitate towards you to find out, well, what's changing you? So we have to be very mindful that people say to even us who have been around for a long time, that why do you keep talking about religion? Why do you keep giving religious quotes? And sometimes people misconstrue it, because they will have that attitude of, these people keep talking about religion, let's not listen to them. But people are where they are, and you have to walk them gradually to where we are. So it's not that we believe these books or these characters, but you have to relate to people where they are at, to then raise them up and bring them up in levels. That's what the master did with us. And he had the patience and the ashuk, so much so that he put away Wu-Sabat. When he came, he was meant to teach us this in 1970, but we were stuck. We were under the spell of religion, and we just kept asking questions about the Bible, the Quran, Abraham and Moses and Jesus. So he's like, okay, let me just put this away. I have to submerge them into these religion and walk them through the religious schools until we got to the point where our questions were like, who is this God? Or who is this Allah? And he was like, okay, now you guys are ready. And then he told us that the Allah, the God you're looking for, is you. And then he started to tie it into our ancestors, how they are those beings that people are calling God and angels and so forth, and explain that there are agreeable and disagreeable extraterrestrials. These are the ones that, the disagreeable ones are the ones in your religious books, you know, Enlil, Enki, who their names become Baal, Yahweh, but you don't see that because of the translations over time. So yeah, we definitely have to be mindful not to be judgmental and not to think that because people are in religions that they're not sincere and will not gravitate to Wu-Sabat, but do that from showing them your actions.
Right. Dr. Simone. Before we carry on, a question to you all, in line with the theme of tonight. And the question is, my role is to remind us of the greatness of the sacred feminine. And my question to you is, how do we get her back into a rightful place? And that's be it in the home, in the family, the workplace, actual practical context that you guys want to share with us. So for those online, if you can, put that in the chat, that'd be appreciated. Right. Moving on, I've got Adelise Rodriguez. My question is regarding the green light. What is the meaning? I was just started 2 weeks ago, and congratulations to finding us, Adelise. And I hope and send you a shuk that this information resonates well with you. In response to your question, the color green has to do with the heart chakra. Each chakra has a different color. It vibrates a different information level with the body, and with particular reference to Baba Yanun, the color green is containing a healing energy, and that forms part of his role why he came to this planet. One is to remind us of our greatness. Secondly, remind us and help us unite so that we can thrive going into this new 6,000-year cycle. Anything else, Cyril?
Yeah. When you look around nature, it's green because anything that's healthy is vibrating with that healthy essence. That's why the word health starts off with the word heal. And so, like my brother said, when you look at Malachi chapter 4, describing this era, the time we're in, it says the Son of Righteousness will come with healing in its wings, because we've experienced so much trauma as a people for the last 6,000 years by way of religion, and we've been put under a spell of amnesia, of ignorance and of self and kind. So he's come to heal. And when you look at colors in general, you're talking about vibrations, because light vibrates and gives off a frequency, and the color that you're looking at is explaining what frequency that vibration is in. So when you look at the rainbow, when you look at the chakras, when you look at colors in general, this is just a vibration, and this is coming out of supreme balance, which would be the black. This is why people refer to us as black, but we're not really black. We're talking about the state of darkness, where they're called dark matter and beyond, or ether, 9 ether, before light was birthed, because light is a frequency that came out of darkness. And then when you put that light through a prism, you get the different colors, and it ties into your mood when you're vibrating on the lower vibrations, which deals with the lower chakras. That deals with lust and desire and greed and anger and all the low vibrations. And we have to learn to subdue those and raise our consciousness to deal with the higher levels of vibration, which will go all the way from, you know, like you will have from the lowest, you go up to like, you know, the yellow will deal with intellect, the white is purity, the all the way to like, you look at the rainbow, the colors, it goes to that indigo, or what we call ultraviolet, which is really dealing with what they say purple, but is really going backwards to back to darkness, which is black, where all those colors combined are. But we have 2 chakras above the 7. This is where we're trying to activate, because that's how we activate our pineal gland, and that works with what people are calling you know, your third eye to open you up, and then that works with your pituitary gland. And once you receive your barothry gland, it activates, and using the liquid gold that we were talking about, the math Cosette, then you're now being turned inside out, or being turned back into a supreme being. You see, so colors, vibrations, frequencies, they're the same thing. Light, they just transform from one to the other based on the level of its vibration.
Rahubat, Muzwalu, brothers. It's Osir Rahubat. Just a quick update that the master added. I just checked an update. The green is also a glitch.
Glitch in the matrix.
The matrix, which is what he explained in the update, is a way for us to come out of this realm. So that's just another, you know, addition to the build.
So what that he's saying, if you look at the primary colors, what are they? If anyone knows. Red, yellow, and blue. Yeah. So you don't see green there, but those 3 are the ones that you mix to get all the other colors. So that's what Osir is saying, that to get the green, it's a glitch. Yeah, because what colors would you mix together to get the green? Correct. Yeah, which actually goes into more things. But yeah, go ahead, Simon.
I was gonna go back to the purple. I just wanted to see if you could elaborate a little bit more. And is that got to do with third eye sort of chakra?
Yeah, because even though we say purple, it's ultraviolet, it's violet, and that relates to ultraviolet, the UVs, right? Because this goes into what was spoken about with the covenant that was made with Noah, when it was saying that in the end times, or in order for the world not to be destroyed by water, by water, because most of the destructions in the Bible is by flooding, right? It was said that it will only be done by way of the sun or by heat. So the ultraviolet is what is saving us from the ultraviolet rays that will harm us when they come through the ozone layer. You see, so that's like the protection, which obviously helps us with our melanin. But these disagreeable beings, they've been trying to kind of destroy the planet with like the aerosol, you know, when you have like air fresheners and stuff. Oh yeah, thank you. These are the things that are making the ozone layer become bigger and bigger, because this is what happened on risk. And when it gets too big and these rays come through, basically it will damage and destroy everyone. And that's what they had to evacuate and try and find gold to build a shield so that the rays would be deflected from the sun. So that's the last level of defense, if you want to call it that, the ultraviolet, which people are calling purple. Yeah, so it's very, very important that we make sure that they don't do that, because that's what, once the rays, those ultraviolet rays come through, it will damage pretty much everyone on the planet, you see. So they're trying to do that, but at the same time, we have got to elevate. And in doing that, they're also trying to leave the planet by going to other places. And, you know, they're trying to go and start living on Mars and, they're going to Europa and to the Goldilocks and certain things. So they basically want to leave, but damage the planet Earth. Now, if we don't get our act together and come together and free the master teacher and get the Natharu or our ancestors to then intervene, then if the planet does get to that point, this is where the crafts are coming to pick those who can make it out of it. Or you have to develop yourself to the point where you can turn yourself inside out into a light being, an Ethereum, and leave. Because light travels at the speed of light. It's the only way you'll be able to get that type of distance away from it. But that's literally if it gets to that point where these Adamites launch atomic weapons. You know, you hear the talk every day about wars with, you know, like Russia and America, and it's escalating. So these are the things that we don't really have time to be, you know, still acting like there are serious things going on the planet that could literally mean the annihilation of not just us, but everyone on the planet. Jamalta?
Yeah, I can't remember what.
Sorry, could you use the mic, please?
I can't remember what scrolls they're in, but the master teacher also spoke about certain cabins and places where we could be secure and safe, but he would have to be the one to show that to us. So is that still the same case now?
Yeah, because even now, when you hear them talk about if there was to be a third world war, it will be a war where there will be no coming back from it, because, you know, it's going to be such, when you're dealing with atomic weapons. So that people like that, they talk about building bunkers. You know, every time they're dealing with any type of, you know, atomic weapons, they have bunkers, and, you know, they go under there and be safe. And but you need to know where to go, because they've tried that in the past and they ended up finding extraterrestrials that are already there, and they didn't want them there and they drove them out. This is what the master referred to as alternatives 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so 1 was annihilation of beings on the planet, especially us, but they couldn't do it because they say that we multiply too fast, and because we have a high fertility rate, so they couldn't do that. So they tried to go to the caverns and go under and poison the planet on the surface. They couldn't do that because the dwellers didn't want them there. And number 3 is to get out of it, launching, you know, rockets and trying to go. And you hear they talk about Elon Musk is trying to colonize Mars and so forth, and he's building robots galore. People think they're just for here. They're not. They have to be able to work in that atmosphere. And AI is going to fuel their intelligence, and electric cars are going to be needed because there's nowhere to fuel. So they'll be getting solar energy. So there is a strategy to colonize these places, but you're going to do it by sending robots and beings that can deal with that atmosphere and can work continuously. And they need intelligence. So AI has been introduced, and they don't need food. They don't need any type of, do you know what I mean? So once it's done, then they will be able to deal with the atmosphere, and then humans can actually live there. They're doing this even now. When you hear what's going on about the whole thing on the news right now dealing with Greenland, and why they want that. They want to build a smart city with AI that's going to be running it, and so they're putting a lot of money into it. The big boys, the billionaires, they're coming together to do that. And so yeah, it's going to be somewhere, like there are many things going on the planet where unless you're in a safe place, you're going to catch hell. And so yeah, going back to your questions about that, in the last time this happened, when the meteorite showers hit, because a meteorite, this is again, when we talk about missiles and bombs, a meteorite can hit this planet, that's going to cause that type of devastation. And the master has already told us that's coming in 2032, right? Or even, you know, he's given us many dates, but we have work to do, because if that was to hit, this is what happened previously. And the elders that knew what to do, they took us into these, as you were saying, the caverns are under the waterfalls. and there were only three real species that survived, which were the Hindus, the Pataites, and who was the other one? Escapes me. But definitely those two, I think it was the Hindus. If Osir's online, he might be able to remember. But when that all subsided, then we came back out and then started to rebuild. Yeah, so that's a very important point. Zamalta.
Right. We've got Zamal, if I may. I'm just going to carry on with the scroll for a bit, and then just to get back on track. We're asking beautiful questions, and we welcome them. But the theme, we want to focus on the sacred feminine time. That's okay.
Did anybody respond to your question?
No. Oh, well, if you've got some more time, right? So in the meanwhile, please write in the chat what we can do, what you would do, what you expect others to do about how to get the sacred feminine back in its rightful place. Zamaltat.
Go ahead.
Zamaltat. Go on then.
So in the actual fact, is God female or male? I think it's on page 41 where it talks about when a man leaves his mother or his family and is to cleave to the woman, and then them two coming together, the female is the one. I don't know if you've got that scroll with you, if we could find it, because I'm just
I'll
like,
find it.
Okay.
it's basically says something along the lines that it's the woman that not makes the decisions, all right, but let's just read. If we could go back and find it, and then that will give the detail. I don't want to say things, but I think it's page 41. Or Actually, I've got it on my phone. 1 second, I get it.
Fantastic. So there we have it, and we are back. We have the scroll. We have page 41.
Rahubat Zamal.
Thank you, Rabat Zamaltat.
Jacob has his hand up.
Jacob, do you want to unmute and ask a question, please?
Oh, yes. My name is Jacob. I'm calling from Johannesburg, South Africa. I wanted to ask second about Queen Elizabeth, if ever she has been visited by terrestrials. Since he spoke more about terrestrials and the visitors that they visited here in this planet, but I haven't heard him talking about the Queen Elizabeth herself.
Yeah, she is an extraterrestrial. That's why her name is Elizabeth, a lizard birth, right? Because she's part of that reptilian bloodline, and that's one of the things people like David Icke was talking about the royal family being not really from here, and that they are extraterrestrial. And a lot of people now are talking about they've attended meetings. There are many people that have given accounts, and in my brother the extraterrestrial is where the master mentioned that. In fact, if I can find the quote, I'll read it. But the bloodlines of those people in higher places is tied to the RH negative blood types. All right. We're not saying the Garus don't have these RH blood types now, but on the planet, the original blood types were Nagaru, which were all positive. Now you have A, O, AB, and then you have the RH factor. So the bloodline, this is why all the presidents are actually related. Most of the royal families are related. They keep that bloodline because that's who they want to groom to, they always pass it from generation to generation to generation. So yeah, she and other beings are extraterrestrials or have the extraterrestrial bloodline, and that's why they were the ones ruling, you know, the world. But the time has come where those overseers that they were actually custodians to the planet, and those overseers have left them now because their time was up from the year 2000 AD. So what you're seeing is the decline of that empire. Yeah. And when you look at the word empire and the V empire, the vampires, or the whole thing about the slave trade, and the fact that they didn't, basically their blood didn't clot, they didn't have the hemoglobin in the blood, and they didn't have salt. So when they were cut, they would bleed to death. This is why you had the War of the Roses, right? Where you're dealing with the Lancasters and the Yorks. And this also ties into as I said, like the reason for the slavery was to get the blood. Until this day, they have to mix in after 400 years, or else they will cease to exist. You know, so the fertility rate is dropping. The sun, this is tying back to the sun cycle. The sun is something that affects Dracula. Because when you're saying these reptilians, you're talking about Dracula or Draconians, right? Who come from the Draco star constellation. And if you know the whole story of Dracula, it's a being that can't come out in the sun. And he has to survive by getting the blood or biting people in the neck to suck their blood. And then the people that get bitten, they become vampires, and then they go out also to bite other people. And this is going on. There's a whole thing now about cannibalism. Even when you hear the word bow in the Bible, that's cannibal, right? Dealing with this is becoming something that, you know, all over social media, certain, you know, restaurants that have the Archies, right? They literally have a statement that says, we serve some million people every day.
So apologies
but
again.
The way it's read,
you
wouldn't think about it in the way it's said.
Okay, let me get it clear. I remember
Carry on,
you
I'm
mentioned
gonna
the
find that
president.
quote in the book.
Okay, you mentioned the president of USA having been visited, and even Obama having been visited by the terrestrials. Is Queen Elizabeth a terrestrial, or he got visited by terrestrials? I just want to get that clarity.
Sorry, repeat the question.
I was saying, was Queen Elizabeth a terrestrial herself, or was she visited like other president? At some point in time, you mentioned Obama being visited by some terrestrials, and another president. I think it was Nixon or somebody that you mentioned.
What I'm saying is, you see, like, we have the bloodline of the Natharu. We are also extraterrestrial. They have the bloodline.
I agree with you. I get you on that one.
Okay, so when every president comes to England once they're inaugurated into power, and they come to bear allegiance to her, right? Because the original settlers of Americas were from Europe.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know how else I can explain it to you, but she is that bloodline, and it's in the family. So when she has children, that gets passed to them. But your extraterrestrials, see, the thing is...
No, I think I get you.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with your explanation when you mentioned the blood, that their blood is not clotting. I'm happy with that one. It's just I wanted clarity as to whether herself was visited, or is she a terrestrial. Saying that the blood is not clotting, obviously she's a terrestrial. She is a terrestrial human being. So I'm happy with that. No, I'm comfortable. Thank you very much.
I'm saying you have different types of reptilians. When I said a lizard is a reptilian.
Correct.
They're able to shapeshift and take on human form.
Yes.
Yeah, so there are lots of people that now they're using, this is what I'm saying about the AI. AI is being utilized to distort reality. So now people are openly taking their mask off on social media and showing you that they're extraterrestrials. But people are going to go, ah, that's AI. You see? So there's real and there's fake. And it's being distorted by AI because that's what they want as they prepare to make it normalized when, you know, they're able to come more public. Yeah. And it's happening more and more every day because it's getting to a point where they can't help it. You know, there were videos where I'm sure you guys have seen the one where the politician was talking and then his voice just changed and he couldn't hide it, and he had to. And they've shown footage of many of the high level people that you see. Try not to get it too controversial, but they are, because they show you in movies like they're wearing all these masks now, and so you don't really know who is real. But some of these extraterrestrial reptilian beings who have been running the planet, called Plan ET, we say planet, but it's an extraterrestrial plan. Some of these beings want to take over the planet, and they're in the high places in terms of political parties, governments, everyday educational system, everywhere. Everyone's pretty much an extraterrestrial, but what type of extraterrestrial and what type of bloodline are you tied into? So yeah, these are things that unless you actually start reading books like the Luciferian Conspiracy, the Leviathan books, where the master is exposing and going into detail about these people that are on the planet, that are on your TV and the movies and everyday life, you're not going to think about it like that. But, we're coming to a day and time where, we just got to focus on what we have been taught by our extraterrestrial that's here and teaching us what we need to do so that we can be prepared for the future, which is, unfolding right now.
Zamal?
No problem.
Right. So I just want to bring us back on topic. Zamal Tat, did you find what you were looking for?
Sure.
And that's fantastic because we are wanting to know how we can get the sacred female, feminine back into rightful place.
So I just wanted to read this part. There's two parts. A part that I found in the Sacred Feminine and also it is God, male or female. So this part is, well, I don't know where to start from. Let's start from.
What's the book you reference?
Who is God, female or male? I'll start from 72, and that's page 13. The female knows she exists and brings all others into existence. She is the sight of all, the sight of the triple darkness in her Raham womb. 74. When you try to overpower the woman or your woman, consort, wife, male, and force her to submission, the God in her dies. Once she loves a man more than her own self, the God in her dies. And then just jump into 76. When she desires sex or physical pleasures, the God in her dies. Once she exchanges body fluids of another female, the stronger Yakas gene rules and the other dies. So going back to 74, when you try to overpower the woman or your woman, consort, wife or mate and force her into submission, the God in her dies. So what we read in the actual facts is that a woman will be responsible for writing the next 24,000 years. And that will be through the fact that she gives birth to the next generation. And it's her mindset, it's her applying Wu-Sabat. It's her sort of in that seat where she's part of growing our economy. It's, you know, for example, like in a lot of developing countries, that what they like to say, they say that when they give sort of aid or support, they give it to the female. And they give it to the female because the males, her nurturing ways is to ensure that the child goes to school, gets the education, is fed, is, has got clothing, etc., etc. So there's that aspect of it. And so the past whereby we've been in a patriarchal society and we've just succumbed to that kind of submission, we've been in that for quite some time. So I think that's still somewhat ingrained, where we're in the submission seat and males are in the opposite. And that will take time for us to develop it, because again, going back to the sacred feminine, it talks about the brain, and the left side being imagery for the females, and the right side being more logical for the males. So it's not about us just using one side of our brains, it's for us to access both sides so they work in conjunction.
Yes.
But I think what we have to do is realize that what's been placed upon us, whereby we initially was a matriarchal society, but with the invasion and what's taken place, it became more patriarchal. And I think what we have to do is just continue to acknowledge that, and do our best to sort of remember that. And so when we're working together as male and female, we just be more aware that that's something that could come up. Do you know what I mean? Where we'll just sit back, some of us, mind you, and where males might just generally tend to just dominate without saying, okay, let's work together, let's see both sides, let's use both sides of our brains so we can be more harmonious. And the master teacher reminds us again in the sacred feminine, I'll just read this part as well, where it says, King James Version, and it says, to say a male god or he in Genesis 2:21-23, cut open a male or Adam and took one small rib bone, made the very first woman, mother of all living. Hawa or Eve is outright spellbinding, lies of liars. Where are the scientific facts? How can a woman accept such foolishness if not under a hypnotic form of religious ignorance, by blinding faith and false belief that says, by males believe me, don't check it out. The gospel of the sacred feminine says it is time for you to wake up, break the Hajar Shalel Karan spell of ignorance about your true feminine natural nature as mother of all living. You are to be worshipped, you are to be adored, you are to be admired, you are to be esteemed, you are to be revered, you are to be exalted, you are to be venerated, you are to be appreciated, you are to be lauded, you are the mother of both mothers and fathers. 1120, yet none of this means anything if you choose to be less than a goddess. None of it means a thing if you lose your divine inner being to your physical outer body, if you offer your divinity to the world for worldly things. So I suppose with what you asked, Zamal, is that the awareness of what we've gone through in terms of losing that matriarchal culture that we used to live in, and just like anything else, just try to use both sides of our brain, because one can be more sort of feminine and one can be masculine, and we just work to use the both. rather than leaning to one side or the other.
You've hit the nail on the head, which is that scroll is for what? The lotus of the lotus of life, divine feminine, and is God male, who's God male or female? The point is that the females have to become those goddesses that the master teacher is teaching us by way of Wu-Sabat. Therefore, they will regain their rightful place. So not every female, as you said, at the moment is recognizing their divinity, and that's where Wu-Sabat is supposed to bring that out of them, to behave and to act like a divine feminine, and then they will then teach the other females out there in the world who are not aware that they're being exploited and being used and being subdued and being suppressed and all of that. So yeah, so that's where Wu-Sabat is here. 100%.
Fantastic.
I did find that bit. I just need to read it quickly. Yeah, this is from my brother, the extraterrestrial. I'm going to just read from page 54, where the question is asked, "What do you mean?" And that the master was explaining prior to that about what's going on the planet. And he says, well, from the year 2000 AD, which is the end of their 6,000-year rule by 6 mind, it's now 9 minds' time. You will see the shift into Earth, and even the oil from Asia to Africa. And you will watch them start many wars in order to offer up flesh persons to Pakama'u, the Pleiadians, their deities. Yet each war is weakening them the world over. And then our Salafu ancestors, who are in control of the weather and nature, will do this part of the planet what their Euro-Americans and war weapons are doing to others, killing for gods who deserted them. This part of the planet is North America, New Babylon, while Shaitan plus the devil. Washington is Mount Zion or Zuen, also Zion in the book of Leviticus, or Lawi Tanan, or Leverons of Antares, Leviathan of the Bible Quran. The mount is called Sinai or Sin, where the crafts landed and they met Nana, the anointed cherub, right? This is Ezekiel 28:13-14, or the Anunnaki, son of Enlil and Ninlil. Nana, the bright one, and in Arabic it is Al-Nur, the light. In the Bible, his name is Sin. Sin is found on the Hebrew strong number 2403, Kata, Genesis 4:7. Sin, that's the word sin, which is referring to this being Nana, who seeks a sacrifice, is what it means. That's what sin means. Who seeks a sacrifice? It's what it means. Do not mistake the Sumerian word or name sin for the English sin. Both are about the same being, yet they try to trick you. If you join with Nana, you're a sinner or Sunite. Genesis 10:17, son of Canaan. Yet in Sumeria, he is Nana. In the Akkadian tongue, he is Adonai, their God, Lord, who asked for offerings, sacrifices, oblations of flesh and blood, and made a deal called a covenant with one Persian Chaldean man named Ibru'um, who became Abram, Genesis 11:26-28. Then Abraham, Genesis chapter 17. This is tying into what I'm running into. And Abraham, was 90 years old and 9. The Lord appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am the Almighty God, walk before me and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. 3. And Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. 5. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. Right now, this is going into the Queen's thing, right? The word being used for this covenant is in Hebrew is berith, found on the Hebrew Strong's number 1285, and it means an alliance, agreement, or a pledge. Berith comes from the root word bara in Hebrew Strong's 01262, meaning to eat, consume, devouring. Now, as I said, this agreement was all about flesh or meat and continues to this day. Then he's got the word Britain, right? Britain, covenant, which is from the word barif, bara, meat, food. The Queen, Old English, Queen, spelled with C-W-E-N and K-W-E-N, is Hor, from Hori, Revelation 17:1-6. Queen's name, Elizabeth, 1533 to 1603 AD, 1926 to 1952, Queen Elizabeth. Hebrew Strong's number 416. El Baith El, a shapeshifter, transfiguration, Matthew 17:1-4. Eli Zabeth, Luke 1:5, Matthew 27:46. Moses was transformed in Exodus 7:1. Emmanuel, God with us, Matthew 1:23. Eli Zabeth, a lizard birth, lizard, queen lizard, bloodlines, transform, shapeshifters, transfiguration. Then you have the blue blood and the red blood. This is why you see the political parties, they always wear red or blue, and you see the flags, American, Britain is red and blue, right? So the blue blood will be mixed with Mukasu by their mothers, the right wing. Red blood mixed with Mungaru by their mothers, the left wing. Then they come to be in the Anunnaki, most world leaders, government and religion since 8,400 BC. The seed of the serpent, what they're talking about in Genesis 3:1. The seed of the offspring, Genesis 6:1-3. The Celtics, Celtics are a part of this covenant, being they are from the British, Britain, British Columbia, British Commonwealth, or British Berith Isles. Here again, you see the word Berith, covenant, in the name British. I'll stop there, but it does give you the full breakdown of the Elizabeth.
We've got hands. I'm going to ask that you remember those questions in the context of what the Zamaltat highlighted in those different scrolls. A question came to me. Yes, the Zamaltat needs to behave and be like the goddess that she is, and I think what we'll find next in the scroll, what I'm about to read, will just highlight exactly and say it as it is, because it's quite easy to say be like a god, but then what is a god? It's almost like telling a child concentrate, and you expect him to know, but he doesn't. So let's dive into that. Hold those questions. I acknowledge the hands on Zoom. Again, knowing what you know now after what the Zamaltat mentioned, right. So what the Zamaltat mentioned, right? How that can be employed in your everyday life. Being the goddess, how do you interact with your child? How do you interact with your partner? How do you interact with your colleagues, with your boss, etc.? How do you interact with nature, for that matter? So while I'm going through these, what we actually do, what the goddesses actually do, the sacred feminine, let the chat reflect that. I'm reading from the Paterak, the sacred feminine, starting with verse 18, where we left off last. The true matriarch, the sacred feminine, matriarchy from whom the mitochondrial DNA is only found. 19, she as mother provided for you while in her womb. 20, she as mother fed you, your first provisions once you exodused the sacred garden. 21, and she as mother is your goddess. 22, when asked who is your God, Allah, Yahweh, Dios, or Theos, or whatever language, dialect, or tone you give the supreme being, you always say my creator. Verse 23, and who really is your creator? 24, your mother created you in a garden of delight, provider of your first delight, and she shaped you. 25, and she formed you. 26, and she fashioned you. 27, and she molded you. 28, she created you in her raham womb as you are. 29, she used her mitochondrial DNA to give you your masculine nature. 30, she made you man in her image, Wu man. Verse 31, she gave you all your body parts. Verse 32, she gave you all jasad, flesh, and damam. 33, she gave you male, their gender. 34, she gave you your glands. 35, she gave you your master gland, the brain. 36, she is your creator. 37, religion and religious ignorance can ask you to believe their lies, yet facts are facts. Truth is truth. 38, what is the true answer to the question of who is your God, your creator? 39, it's the sacred feminine. 40, it's a woman. 41, it's the female. 42, now there's more to being born female. 43, there's more to being called woman, lady, wife, daughter, sister, and mother. 44, she must act the part she plays in her life as feminine, as we just mentioned. 44, she must act the part she plays in her life as feminine. For 45, she must act the part she plays in life as the respected woman, lady, young lady, and good girl, to uphold the nobility of the sacred feminine. 46, she must be a real she, female in all ways. 47, she must walk like a female, feminine. 48, she must talk like a female, feminine. 49, she must move like a female, feminine. 50, she must act like a female, feminine. 51, she is the ultimate female, feminine. 52, she's grace. 53, she's charm. 54, she's refined. 55, she is favor. 56, she's honor. 57, she is attractive. 58, she is soft. 59, she's gentle. 60, she is never rough. 61, she is never loud or boisterous. 62, she's never impolite. 63, she's never rude. 64, she's always clean inside and out. 65, she always smells fresh and clean. 66, she bathes more than once per day. And I'll hold for there because so we can address some more questions, but I would till 70.
Yeah.
Okay, 67, she keeps her teeth clean and her breath fresh at all times. 68, she's never evil, mean, or violent. 69, she keeps her feet well groomed. 70, she keeps her outer garments clean and neat. And that's what I'll hold for now. Zamal, safe travels. Thank you for coming tonight. As usual, it's a pleasure having you tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Final question is,
Please do.
how does the husband or men in general help the wife to become the feminine, if that's a reasonable thing to say?
It is a reasonable thing to say. And that was the essence of my question. I did pose that question. If you're asking me that question, it's like with any relationship. It is to speak to the goddess in her, is to see the goddessness in her, is to recognize that, is to uplift her, is to, like all these things say, you as a god, as a masculine, you dressing and holding yourself in that space. And when you address your goddess, when you address your queen, as many say, she has no option but to acknowledge that vibration, because it is within the word that we speak that raises that vibration, that makes a difference. So that would be my response, Zama. That's a great response. Thank you.
It's relate. The word relate, relationship. If you don't relate, then the relationship is not going to be balanced. And it's about, like you were saying, left and right brain coming together and working together. But when there's imbalance, then that's what's going to happen. It's going to be unrelatable because the vibrations and frequencies are going to be different. So it's harmony, love, and unity. And by action, not just words.
Does it answer your questions, Amal?
Yes, it does. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Safe journey. Right. Now we have had questions in the studio.
You've got someone.
Yeah, Ramesses, I see you. Right. But I think our brother here was
okay
before.
Yeah, I was going to give an answer pretty much what you brothers just said.
Okay.
About how us as men having to know the right way to cater to the female. You know, and I feel as if by living the truth of Wu-Sabat, you know, I just recently read the Nuwapian Man. So living up to those standards, you know, we'll then be able to know how to cater to our females. That way they can live up to their full potentials, feminine, you know. I also got a question. My question was, I saw a video about how, or I was talking about earlier, how women can lose their divinity. So if a woman loses their divinity, can they get it back, or that's that?
Yes, they can get it back. There was a update. The way they get it back, and the 2 points you made are absolutely so critical, because the Nuwapian man, to be a Nuwapian man is not to be roadman or the regular man, because a Nuwapian man has responsibilities. And when you are living and performing and embracing your responsibilities as a Nuwapian man, then it helps the females, because remember, both of us in the West have been traumatized and have been under the spell and have been put in a situation where we don't really know who we are. So both male and female. So when you become an upright Nuwapian man, then you start to attract the energy that the female will look at you like somebody of worth. You know, you see how we dress. Just our dress alone, when people see you on the street or on the road, because most of us men in the West, we don't dress like we're, you know, responsible. We dress with like baggy trousers and, you know, what do they call it, sagging, and like all that type of energy is the energy that gets stereotyped. So when you're a Nuwapian man living the culture of Wu-Sabat, the first thing is your dress, but it's not just about the clothes and the dressing. It's like you say, do you come to Nuwapian man meetings, and so that you can be groomed and then follow on to be taught how to be a man, you see. And then the second part that you're saying, there are rituals that we have to fix us, right? Partner Babyanun has given the sacred feminine or the females these rituals that they do that will help them. Because there was an update, I don't want to read all of it, but at the end of it, when it explains about if you've had more than 4 males and, you know, you've lost your divinity, etc., can you still be fixed? And he said yes. And that was the last sentence in that update. So, and we already know that there are certain rituals that both male and female have to do to get the six ether forces that is making us behave and act the way we act. And so that's what they have to do within their sisterhood. They do certain rituals that will help them to, regain their divinity.
Yeah, that's great. That's great news to hear, actually.
Yeah.
There's another question that just came up.
Wu-Sabat doesn't damn you to hell forever because you've made mistakes like religions, do.
Rahubad, good morning. I have a question. When you finish speaking.
Sorry, we're just finishing off one question and then we'll come. Is that Nicole? Okay. Yeah, so lost my.
Oh, it's Nicole.
All right, we're gonna come to you in a moment. What was I saying?
So that's okay.
Yeah, so I was saying that I forgot what I was saying.
So you're rounding up, you said Wu-Sabat does not.
That's right. Yeah. Our ancestors are loving, caring beings. They give you chances. That's why we have 24 to 24,000 times so we can get it right. So they don't really, they don't like damn you and like the religious God does to hell and to burn in fire and all that kind of stuff. Put that fear in you. And what happens is when somebody makes a mistake, not that we're encouraging you, but we all make mistakes. And when you do, if you think, oh, that's it, it's over for me now, then you're not going to bother try. You're going to be like, okay, well, I'm doomed anyway, so why bother? And that is where religious people go wrong, because the master had all kinds of people from all walks of life. I'm talking about criminals and murderers and people that have done all kinds of stuff that used to come on the land. And he was like, the love and the ashuk shows them that they're welcome, and from all different walks of life, different religions, and we have to extend the ashuk that our ancestors have over us, because a lot of the issues we have at the moment with the love and unity thing, and people are saying like, we can't get along, we can't this, but it's really the person that is speaking. Like, what are you doing? Just what I'm saying, because you have to fix yourself. And that's why when people point fingers at other people, more fingers are pointing back at them. So if everyone's working on themselves by way of Patarak and by way of, our way, then we will come together and heal each other much, much quicker and easier.
So beautiful. There's a question that just came up to mind. I once read a book called The First Woman, and it was talking about how men traded spirituality for materialistic. And there's a Mount earlier spoke something about, or she read something about how if you treat a woman a certain way, the divinity kind of just
goes down.
So is it fair to say that us men we can't be the problem then, like for that?
We are the problem.
So we are the problem.
Yeah. If you look at who's been ruling the world for the last 6,000 years, men. Men are pastors, imams, prime minister, presidents. You can go on and on and on. And they're the ones that have led to the planet being the way it is. And they are afraid of the woman as well. That's why there are some people that are so chauvinistic in their nature that if you say woman comes before man, they don't want to accept that. But that's an actual fact. But if your ego is that bad to the point where you can't accept facts because you feel that we're saying she's going to now do to you what we've been doing to her, as in suppressing her, abusing her, so forth. But Pan the Babyanun is not talking about that. He's talking about she's supposed to be in the rightful place as tribal leader. That's what Nikaba's name is, tribal leader. But it doesn't mean that she's going to now try and, or shouldn't, try to emasculate you and put you down and treat you like she's now like what the man was doing and putting her down. It's about working together in unison. Yeah, so it is men's fault, really. But we've been programmed to the point where now the men and the women are problems as well. Because what the way the Mukasu did it, the Adamites did it, he made sure that you can't be a provider as a man. You see, so most of the jails are filled with Nagaru men. And when you can't be what you're supposed to be by natural nature, which is, the leader in terms of the masculine side, the provider, the hunter, go out there and get and bring, then they give the women the jobs, they give the women the, like the properties in terms of before they used to do that. That's even harder now because You know, they will be the one with the baby or the child, so they will cater to her. And so, you know, men didn't have much to offer. And in terms of it becomes about sex. And as you read with what was read, if it all that you make the woman feel her worth is sex, then it's not gonna elevate her, because you've reduced yourself right down to the lowest chakra, as opposed to the mind and lifting her up, dealing with the mentality and the other vibrations that you need, so that you get that connection. You see, so yeah. Would you say?
No, that's beautiful. Yeah. Right. So let's just get back on track. Ramesses.
Remember, Nicole was waiting.
Ramesses has been waiting. Okay, two.
Ramesses and then Nicole. Thank you.
Yes,
Ramesses.
I got a quick question. How long did it take you to learn Miss Battier?
Myself, I'm still learning.
We're all still learning. We're all still learning.
Yeah,
but you can learn it in 6 months. That's why we have the online course that you can learn it in 6 months. When we say learn it, that's so you can be able to communicate and speak and, you know, use it on an everyday basis. But there's still more to learn. And when you want to go into the deeper aspects of it, that's never going to stop, because our language is alive and it's constantly evolving. But yeah, you can learn to read, write, and speak within 6 months if you put the work in. So the question of how long will it take, everyone's going to be different based on how much effort they apply and what they do.
So then it could take somebody, no offense, 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, we've had it for over 5-10 years, and many people are still not fluent. So it's how, and this is a part of us coming together, because remember, they did everything to scatter and like disperse us. Because when we were on our land, you would speak and hear it every single day, and you don't really learn a language by just like books and all of that. Because if you think how you learn English, you weren't born with a book. You used it, you picked up words like mama, dada, as you were growing up, and then you added more words to your vocabulary every single day, to the point where you're now able to converse. But there are many English words that you've never ever used in your life, because the vocabulary is actually vast. One English word has up to 500 different meanings. So no one has mastered English either. Like when you use it to a high level, then you might use certain words that people will be like, what does that mean? Or, but really, you've just learned enough to be able to communicate and speak like we're doing now. So it's the same thing we have to apply with Miss Batia, is use what you know every single day and keep adding to the, the vocabulary, to the point where you replace everything you say in English with it. And the quicker we all do that, the quicker we will be elevated mentally. Because remember, once you're united mentally, you're automatically united physically. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Tawa. Tawata.
And Takapia.
All right, Nicole, do you want to unmute and ask a question?
Sorry, my chant alarm.
Hold on, Samal, hold on.
Did Zamaltat say I should hold on?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to.
Yes, Samal, I am going through the let me go back through the feminine, the sacred feminine.
Yeah.
I'd heard one of the I don't know if that's a rule or what, they're saying that a man must own you. What do you really mean by owning somebody?
A man must own a woman. Zamaltat, I'm not familiar. I'm not.
Does she have the verse and the page so we can read it?
If you can, do you have the scroll and the verse? If possible, please.
No, I don't have the scroll. Normally I will listen it on YouTube, because they bring it out about the sacred feminine. I think one of that it say a man must own you. So I want to know what the own really means. A man owning you, what it really means. That what he has to do to own you.
This is why we want to know the quote, because we want to make sure that what you're saying is correct, because without seeing it, we will be just speculating, because we would like to read it.
I have to go back on the page. I photocopied the page. I cannot remember what number the page was, because I get it from one of the brothers over here. So I can't remember the number on the page.
You don't have that page with you? Because I've got the scroll in front of me, but I just wanted to go to the reference.
I don't have the page in front of me right now. I have to go look for I have to go look for
it.
Yeah,
we always encourage people to give us the quote and the reference, so that we can address it, looking, because sometimes people misinterpret things or read it and and misinterpret it. So yeah, I can't comment on it without reading it, because we don't own. I'm trying to go through it to see if I might spot it, but no, we don't. I don't recall that owning.
No.
So yeah, we'll revisit that question when you have the scroll or the reference.
I think, as another way to look at it is, it's also like...
Yes, I will check on it. I will check on it, because I want it to clear up, because I want to know the right rules for this thing when it comes to relationship. So there's a reason I want it to clear up.
Right. Okay, yeah. Maybe next week, find it and ask the question again.
Yeah, I suppose another way to
I
look at
will
it...
I will.
Sure. Another way is also to look outside. To look outside and just see how nature operates, who owns who in nature. And from that perspective at the moment, I'm observing, I can't see.
Well, we've already said male is inside female,
yeah,
and is inside woman. So if anyone owns anyone, it would be the other way around. So
right,
yeah, we'll come back to that.
Zamalta, all right. Any other questions there, Zamalta, Monique, that I've missed?
There's some questions in the chat.
Right. From...
we have from Jose.
Okay, just before Jose, there's Atumre Kemet. He was asking, Rabat Musar Nakukarit Kum Kawes Wu Ashuk. Thank you. Last week I asked the question on forgiveness, and it was can someone truly be forgiven for their sins, and if so or not, what is true forgiveness? I was told that no one can truly be forgiven. Now my question is, what is this forgiveness that the master teacher Baba Yanun is talking about when he says, I forgive you all before I depart?
Yeah, so that's dealing with the Natharu. What the question that was asked last time was if people can forgive each other. Remember, the Natharu are the overseers. They're the ones that make decisions in terms of, if you read the spiritual you after the physical you dies, it explains that they have the ability to take your disc and erase and move certain things and put you back in a position where your life will continue as it was before the incident. Nabab is one of the Natharu, or one of the overseers. So yes, they are the ones, in terms of, they're the ones that are in the position of, if you want to use that term, forgiveness. But we were talking about it based on the way religion interprets forgiveness. Like, they show you movies, especially in Christianity, where someone will go for what they call confession, but they will go to a little box and there's a man sitting behind the box, and they say, oh, Father, I have sinned, I've done this and I've that. And then he says, yes, you're forgiven. Go and do 200 Rosemary, whatever they do, Hail Marys, thank you. So that is a joke, because who puts him in the power or the position to forgive you? because if it all it takes is, because you see this in the like the Godfather movies and so on, where these men are gangsters and they will unalive a lot of people and then just go to the box and say, Father, I've sinned, and he just says he's forgiven you, go and do these Hail Marys, which is, it's not the way nature works. So even though a man can say that, the fact that you did that, nature will still deal with you based on cause and effect. So it's not down to the man. Or if I say I forgive you, whatever you did is still going to be in your matrix, and there has to be an equal and opposite reaction to the action that you did. So by that way, this is why the master says, like, even when people try to, I don't know if I can say commit, unalive themselves, or they take someone's life, everyone that's involved in that situation will come back and experience what everybody that what your actions did cause. You get me? So you can't forgive like that. It's just a temporary transference of guilt, yeah. And it doesn't. It's the Natharu or the overseers that have that ability. That's why they've given us the 24 to 24,000 chances, for example, to fix up. And it's up to them if you make it to receiving your barythry gland. It's up to them if you are able to elevate to the higher realms. And eventually, you either return to the what we call the all expanding, or you dissipate, meaning that you're no longer able to experience the higher levels of existence. I hope that's clear this time or makes sense.
Right. Nasir was asking, where did dolphins come from? I did hear they are just as smart as we are.
Dolphins.
Yeah, dolphins, yeah.
Yeah, this is what we were saying, that originally they were not from here. They were known as Vulcan, they're Vulcan beings, and they were transported here into the waters. That's why we said that the capsules of the DNA was inserted into them when they were put in the waters on the earth. So these are beings that are highly evolved. And so yeah, they came from, if you listen to the recording of the crash of Nibiru, actual title I think is Who Lived Before Adam and Eve, or something like that. The master explains this, that you had beings like the Meldekians also, who were originally on the planet called Meldic, which Nibiru crashed into. And then they were also put into the waters because their planet was damaged. This is why in Genesis, when it starts off talking about, it literally says it was void and there was no land or earth. Everything was underwater because the beings that were here at that time were living underwater, and they're reptilian beings, and they were looking up, and they're the ones that were telling the story of what God was doing. That's why it starts off saying, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth in a third person sense. And the gods they're talking about was Enki and, Enlil, and they were terraforming the planet, and they were hovering on crafts before the land came out from the waters, you see. So, yeah, most of the original beings were water beings, and you had mermaids and mermen, and they've got civilizations deep underwater. The sea is so deep that there are parts that man has never been able to get to because they can't breathe when they get that far. They got certain apparatus that will take them so far with like skin suit, what they call them skin diving suits and all that, but they've got crafts that will go under like submarines, but they are so many subterranean worlds and like so many extraterrestrials in the deep seas. Now they're starting to show you a few mermaids that are coming out, or they catch them and things like that. But yeah, so Vulcans, the dolphins were really Vulcan beings that weren't originally from here. All right.
Thanks, Emma. Drew asked the question. A lot of people have been brainwashed by the white man, and even if you ask your children, is God black or white? They will tell you white. And because of Netflix and all this entertainment, the white man continues to show himself as superior to other races. How can we reverse or counter this brainwashing? Because most black people believe they are inferior. For example, a woman hate their natural hair and put chemicals in it and destroy it and also bleach their skin. Drew, I think it's important to acknowledge firstly that yes, you're right. We have been brainwashed from a hypnotic context. In hypnosis, you are conscious, and if there's something that your essence won't allow you to do, you won't. I mean, you've seen this, the stage hypnosis and those things. Those people who get on stage and do those silliness, if they had one or two drinks too many, they would happily do that. So it's not outside of their space of what they would do. So in the same sense here, we've got a scenario where we've been brainwashed for a while, and we have the teachings of the master teacher, Panabab Yanun. And it's important then in that context to expose yourself, to remind yourself in terms of our daughters, to read them, to share with them, to tell them. The theme tonight is about the goddess, and just remind them and just reinforce that message of who they are, because we have forgotten, we've been left to forget. And the medium of television and radio is an old trick that has been used. And I think once you start being exposed to this information, the way in which you look at the movies and the series and that type of stuff becomes different. You start identifying things, reinforcing your knowingness about the essence. And that becomes easier and easier the more you expose yourself to this information by the master teacher, spending time with brothers and sisters in Wu-Sabat, and which will raise your vibration. And it's like with anything. I saw a clip the other day where they've got, what do you call those things in music when you tick tock, tick tock, where it keeps the beat?
Metronome.
Yeah. And they had like 6, and they mix them at random time, random ways. But after a while, they all became synchronized. And that's just what happens. People who share the same space, they vibrate and they aim naturally. They want to vibrate at the same level. So spending time with brothers and sisters who practice, who are within Wu-Sabat, will do that for you. We've got an event coming up on the 14th. It's Friendship Day. So that would be another opportunity just to expose your loved ones and yourself in the company of us practicing the culture. That's what I've got.
I just want to touch a little bit on the language is so key, because we're saying brainwashing, but we're really supposed to be saying we've been brain dirty, because to wash something is to make it clean. You see, so this is again how the language is used and incorporated in everything we do and everything we say, which is why it's so important for us to learn our language so that we can use the right tones. And again, the problem is also the men, because the women wouldn't dress, or like you're saying, would straighten their hair and these types of things if the man was a Nuapian man and also wasn't looking down on the woman for wearing her natural hair and being her natural self. Because the media has portrayed what they call beauty, and unfortunately is to do with the image of the Caucasian, just the same way they do with the image of Jesus being the Son of God. And our children will grow up thinking that, when they see a teacher or someone at school that looks like the picture of Jesus that we may have our grandmothers, people, they look at that as superior. They've done experiments with young children where they will have a doll with, natural afro hair and one with blonde and straight hair, and they'll gravitate to the straight hair, 6 ether one, or fur, shall I say, that they recognize that as beauty. So if the men didn't look at those types of women, because a lot of women they're so under pressure to all look the same now. Like you see what I call windscreen wipers. you see the straighten out the blonde hair, and they're doing all kinds of stuff just to emulate these people they look at as celebrities. Your Nicki Minaj and all these beings, Beyonce, they all wearing it. So if the men see that as beauty, the females are going to try to replicate that. And when you see a natural, Nagaru with her natural hair, if you don't embrace and compliment her and make her feel that's beauty, then they will go and get the wigs and get the straight 60 for hair. So it's a problem from both of us. The men have to, recognize what true beauty is. And so when the female is on that journey to becoming natural, be her natural self, they have to embrace it and not make them, going back to what we were saying before, not make them feel like they're not pretty or beautiful because they're not wearing the Brazilian they spend all that money on. And the thing is, Dravidians do rituals to take that hair off of them, rituals to their Hindu gods and goddesses, and then they sell that to, a lot of the Nagarus who go and put it on the hair, and that's DNA that will actually transform and change you. And they don't realize this. And many of our sisters have ruined their natural hair because of the weaves, and so a lot of them now don't want to even take off the false hair. So they have to just take it off, shave their hair off, start using natural products, and regrow their hair healthily. And that journey is not an easy journey when they've been wearing that for so long. So I hope that answers that question. I'll let you go back to your...
Yes, let's go back and remember the essence and beauty of our sacred feminine. Going back, verse 71. She never overexposes the body parts to none, save the male she has given herself to by law. And that to be Nuapian law and civil law too. 72. She flirts for the reason of attraction for life, not for the pleasures of a night or day relationship. 73. She flirts, it's her nature, yet she is never cheap or loose or a whore, not a Nuapian woman or girl. 74. Her dwelling is always clean and fresh. 75.
Sorry, just on that point, remember we read from that when I said the word queen means whore. So again, without the correct knowledge, you hear brothers refer to their women as a queen, not recognizing that the connotation that word has. So relating to that point. Go ahead.
Thank you. 75. She doesn't move from relationship to relationship. That is not the way of a sacred feminine. 76. She can lose her divinity by her own actions and deeds. If she disrespects herself, all others have the same right to disrespect her. 77. She does not lie, steal, cheat, or kill Nuapian. 78. She is never drunk, nor drinks strong drinks of alcohol. 79. She never uses drugs for recreational purposes. 80. She never smokes tobacco or herbs for recreational purposes. 81. She's never intoxicated in any way. 82. She keeps the mind divine at all times. 83. She does not overeat. 84. She does not undereat. 85. She knows the weight, the full term after childbirth, before having sexual intercourse. 86. She gives her womb time to return to its proper passion of circles and cycles. 87. She does not indulge in sexual intercourse after a 6 month of pregnancy. 88. She knows to let nature work in her womb between the 6th and 9th month. 89. She knows the importance of the first weeks of a pregnancy, between the 6th and 9th week, and effects it will have on the nature and health of the child. 90. She knows what to eat and what not to eat, as well as what to drink and what not to drink during pregnancy. 91. She knows nature requires her to breastfeed her child until the body stops producing what the child needs. 92. She is the fashioner, the shaper, the maker and the former, the creator of each person born. 93. She must make beings in her own image and with her own likeness. 94. She may shape the jasad, flesh, and give the ka, spirit, yet not the ba, soul, or the katal, mind. 94.5, sorry. Actually, Jamal, do you just want to expand on that? Yeah, that just resonates with me. But
I think if you carry on reading, it will be explained. But that's a very important point.
Yeah.
I don't know if many people caught it, but yeah. Do you want to read it one more time and then carry on reading? I'm sure it gets answered.
Right. She may shape the jasad, flesh, and give the ka, spirit, yet not the ba'a, soul, or the katal, mind. Your child may be born a true feminine.
Okay, let me touch on it just in case it doesn't go into it. This is the problem why people refer to God as a he or as a male. Even women, you always hear them say, "Who created? God created me," and it's a he. That's because of the fact that when you're dealing with this realm, we refer to as Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is like they give birth and control everything that is living. However, the ba'a or the soul, that comes from the male, and that's where the sperm will travel up to the crown chakra and receive that soul that is then injected into the female when it comes back down with that energy or that essence, and then she then grows that baby with that soul and then gives birth. That's what that's referring to. So the he or the principle that they refer to as a man being in heaven, being Allah, etc., is because that essence of the soul comes through the man.
Right.
And then but she deals with nature, as in Mother Nature,
right,
and the spirit.
Fantastic.
This is why you can have children which don't have souls, or you can have beings who have lost their souls, but that soul would have, before they lose it or before it's inactive and needs to be activated, would have come from the male.
Fantastic. Your child may be born a true feminine. Your child may be born a true masculine, 97, or in the 6th to 9th week in the womb, your child, due to chromosomes, may be born feminine in a masculine body or masculine in a feminine body. 98. These are your muhnastatu, hermaphrodites, and muhasnashtu, hermaphrodites. 99. There are neuter gender beings who actually vibrate on the feminine and masculine energy at the same time. 100. This is nature's effect by your own system at that point in time. I'll pause there for now and go to the chat. Got a question by Jose. How do you bring the rightful place of the divine feminine? Thank you for answering. The answer is Wu-Sabat. Educate our children with Wu-Sabat. Integrate the culture, science, and spirituality in your children's upbringing. Wu-Sabat is natural evolution of existence, including humans, packaged in a culture, science, and spirituality. Everything ties back to sharing the information and directing them to books. The people will resonate with the knowledge, and books through culture, science, or spirituality. The connected people will resonate with at least one of them, if not all. Ashuk. Taukum for that, Jose. Yeah, I appreciate you responding to the question and with such a level of detail. Is the scroll Sacred Feminine available in the store?
No.
No, that's no, Jose. Yeah. Okay.
Who was the mall? Potarak?
Mm-hmm.
There are a few up here.
Right. Yeah. Jose, we have it online. If you want to order it, we'll get it through to you by post. Zamal.
So one of the things you mentioned in the reading is for the sake of women to be able to keep their mind divine. I'm going off personal experience, but then it's partially depression. So in that respect, once a woman's had a child and she, there's 3 months after she's given birth, obviously her moods, her emotions, and everything can fluctuate. So as a woman, as a divine being, how do you keep your mind divine? And as a man, how can you support the woman to enable her to do that or continue?
Sure. I think, and my Zamal will correct the assumptions, but I think it's useful understanding the process, the 3 terms from conception to birth. And you'll notice that throughout that period, there are natural changes happening, right? And similarly after birth. What's useful is, as a Sabian man, we are patient, we are tolerant, and all of those lead into us, in a nutshell, being the observer, being aware of what's happening, but not reacting with emotion. We're using rightful knowledge, rightful our mind, and reasoning to take in a position. So when our partner, our masculine, feminine, our sacred feminine goes through these changes, it's important to take that position. It's not personal. Yes, they may direct that energy at you, but it's for us to become the bowl, as it were. When we're the bowl and they the water, we hold that space for them, allowing them to go through it and be the support, because one of our roles is to protect and to provide, and we provide that space for them going through those changes. With regards to the scrolls, where that comes from,
yeah, I mean, you've literally covered it. It's just to recognize that she's going through changes, right? She's, hormonal changes, and it takes a lot out of her because she's creating. She's the only one who really creates life, so knows how that feels. We don't know. We only observing, and we're just there to kind of like to support. The environment that you create is very important. But if the feminine is amongst other feminines, she can also get that support, because in our culture we're like we're tribal. So you have other elders or the females who have gone through what she's going through at childbirth, so they will be able to support her, you see. But in the West, we don't have that support mechanism. In fact, even the way the child is brought into the world, it's not the way, it comes and it's traumatized from the beginning. And this is why having our own culture and, like having our own things like that, where you're preparing this being to come into this world and not be like, the stress that the being has as soon as they come out. Remember, the circumcision, the bright lights, they smack them and all this. No, what did I say? Yeah, circumcision for the babies. The boys. that's trauma. Yeah. So, and now they try to do it for females as well with the mutilations and all kinds of stuff. So your that stress, remember the baby is still connected to the mother. Whatever stress the baby's going through, the mother's going to go through it. So a lot of the times, these young mothers, they don't have any guidance, they don't have any support. So the master explained on the recording, like, there's something where some mothers can't handle that tremendous stress and would want to throw the baby out, literally, or like, because it's too much. But in the right environment with the right support and the baby coming out in a certain way, the baby is not going to give the mother that much stress. Just the crying alone can be so traumatic for the mother, because she's just gone through such a hard time. To some women can't even push out the baby anymore because of the foods and the way they are brought up in the country. A lot of women wear these high heel shoes which mess up their pelvis, and a lot of them are not, you're not able to push out a baby anymore. So like Zamartat just said, you end up with cesareans, which is again another like traumatizing experience for the woman, because there is a lot of pain. When they start to glamorize it with things like, I'm too posh to push, if you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's a two-way thing where the baby's traumatized, and then she then gives, or he gives the mother the stress and the trauma, and then the mother then takes it out on the man, because, well, not takes it out, but as she's experiencing and going through this, the male observer, if they don't know how to handle and deal with that, then it just gets passed on to everyone, and before you know it, everyone is like just at each other. But yeah, it's about the balance.
I'll tell you,
Tack up there, fool.
I think you definitely hit the hammer on the nail there. Just to answer your question earlier about what we need to do in order to bring the sacred family back. I think for men, it's removing the ego. I think that's probably, for us, I think that's probably the number one thing we need to do, because being in a situation like what we're talking about, yes, and I see this with people all the time. Like, it's during that beginning stage when the woman is giving birth that a lot of the time the man and the woman split up. That's when it tends to happen, because maybe the man can't remove his ego. It's way too much, and the woman can be overbearing in those sort of situations. But where we don't have that support system, you're having to take on all of that as a man, and it's not easy. But then, yeah, I think it's finding a way to remove that ego and put it aside in order to deal with that situation, and just know that later on in time it will get better. She will return to herself, and you'll be able to lift her up. So.
One other, again, you're correct, but ego is not something you can remove completely, right? Because just like anything else, it's about controlling it and knowing how to, because it's energy on the go, and you can't destroy energy. So you have to learn how to control the energy, and it is hard when you're trying not to fuel, or as we say, feed the forces that you're being subjected to. Because as a young man, if you're having a child for the first time, it will either make you become responsible, or you rise up to the occasion, or you run away and can't deal with the pressure. And a lot of men who were not ready for childbirth, that's why you're saying they will split up, because they don't want to deal with the responsibility. Because it now means, like you say, you've got to think about nappies. You've got to think about when the woman wants to sleep and the baby's crying at night. There's so many things that she needs support with, that if you're not a responsible man and you're not ready, you just run away, which is a cowardice thing to do. But if you're responsible, you rise to the occasion, and you become a man, and you take on the responsibility, and as you say, you're there to support throughout. So it will either make you become responsible, or if you don't want to deal with the responsibility, you're gonna, as you say, run away. And it's easier for men to run away than to stand firm and face the responsibility. You know,
I think
just
if I may add to that, I think it's also useful, like I mentioned before, to come to the Nuwapen Man meetings, you know, because I think it's a useful, safe space. There's only men. We are familiar what challenges you may have, and it's an opportunity to share, lighten the load, as it were. You know, somebody can give you encouraging words, somebody can give you a hug or whatever you may need at the time. And I think that can go a long way. So if when encourage you ever may experience that type of context, then it may be useful.
Another point you've just touched on, real men do cry. Because when you're talking about ego, a lot of men have been brought up to be tough and to, you know, just like not express their emotions or deal with their emotions, to the point where, you know, sometimes men don't want to be vulnerable and express that, you know what I mean, that vulnerability amongst other men. But you have female within you, remember, because you got X and Y chromosome. So you have to know how to also tap into your feminine nature, which is your X. But, you know, men are just really taught to be like, real men don't cry and, you know, hold everything in, and you know, they don't only in the barbershop sometimes you may be amongst men where they will talk about certain things, but barbershops have become like a gossip place as well. You know what I mean? So the Nuwapian man is that place where we're rising to what we've been taught by Partner Babyanun, is the place you can come and be yourself and be vulnerable amongst other brothers, get experience from other brothers that may have experienced what you're going through.
Right. We're going to wrap up, but we'll take the two last questions, Zamalan and Zamaltat, and then we'll wrap it up.
It's a quick question. You know, we said the queen means whole. What about king?
What do you mean, what about king? What does it mean?
Yeah, is it?
No, it's not the same. It's just when you study etymology in terms of words, that's what the word queen, the way it was spelled, originally was Kween or Cwen. Phonetically, when you say something, the tone is the tone, no matter how it's spelled. But this is how the tricknology comes in, because they will tell you it means one thing, but the tone you're saying is, whether you spell it as Queen or Kwen or Cwen, the tone is still the same. But they hide it by making it out like it's royalty. But when you read the book of Revelations, going back to the question that was asked about the queen, it tells you in the books of Revelations that the word becomes a harlot, you see, and it talks about the fornications and all the iniquities, and that's why they're being judged in terms of the 6,000 years coming to an end. Okay, what was the...
It was a question. I was just saying, yeah, you're right. We have the Parthalat, say for feminine, but we don't have the actual facts.
Right, good people. Muisa, family, thank you for spending this beautiful 2.5 hours with us. I've been enriched, as I normally am, and I hope you guys could learn something too. Tonight, we wanted just to remember the sacred feminine and explored ways of getting her back into a divine space. On that parting note, we want to also just highlight and remind everybody that we have an event coming up on the 14th of February. It starts at 3 to 6:30 p.m. and then we'll have a class like a 7 till 9:30 as usual. The location, the venue?
Yeah, it's in Croydon, the CVA. It's all on the Eventbrite. If you scan the code on the flyers, there's a 3-course meal and live music, and you know, it's for singles, for couples. We've been talking about you know, the relationships and the unity of the Nagaru male and female is the backbone of our community. So if you do have, you know, a mate, bring them along. Everyone's welcome. You have to be 18 plus to attend. And there are online tickets as well for people that are anywhere on the planet that want to join, because they will be able to stream it. We'll be streaming it and they'll be able to join if they buy their online ticket. We already had tickets for the first 15 people who will be receiving their scroll. Those are gone, and I've been informed by the event manager that they're going to allocate another 15 because those are already gone. I'm not sure what scroll you get. It'll be a surprise, but so yeah, there are another 15 online tickets for those who'd like to watch the live activities from, you know, from anywhere in the world. So even though you may not be with us physically, you can still be with us over the internet mentally, and you'll be able to also participate.
Talkum Zamal, Talkum Muisar. On that divine note, we wish you a shuk and look forward to seeing you back next week.
I do the lives on Tuesday, so you don't have to wait till Saturday. So join the lives as well on YouTube. Same time, 7 p.m. Rahubat.
Before we close, just want to share with the Feminines, if you're interested, please get in contact with us to be a part of our Sacred Feminine groups. As you all heard, the men have their meetings and we have ours also. So please reach out to Zamutat Bastat. You can contact us for the store or the email address. And I also want to say a congratulations to Rita, because I can see she's in class today. Rita, you are one of the winners of our first 15 Partarak. So we'll be in contact with you this week. Tawatat.
Thank you. Tawatat.
Tawatat. All right. Musar Wadu. Wu Ashok.
Wadu.